so long.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, I certainly agree with your comments, and to the minority chairman, we definitely need a compromise, and I think that's what we have in front of us. And Chairman Vitale, Representative Zabel, and many other members have traveled to northwestern Pennsylvania to see these operations firsthand, and I credit you for doing that, because some of the other comments that were said here today, it's very obvious to me that some members still don't have an understanding of what a conventional well is. In fact, some members could probably trip over one and not understand what a conventional well is in Pennsylvania. I mean, some of the comments that have been said, you know, for Chairman Vitale to continually call this industry a polluting industry, I think is offensive. These are energy producers. They shouldn't be referred to as a polluting industry. They're providing energy for us. And that's just not characterizing what the industry is. They're not asking for reduced regulations. They're asking for reasonable, responsible regulations. They are protecting the environment, as you can see in northwestern Pennsylvania if you take the time to come up. Some of the comments that members have said, they've talked about state preemption. We can't have a patchwork quilt of environmental laws across the Commonwealth. We're one Commonwealth, and we should have a standard set of environmental regulations to regulate the industry. Much has been said about road spreading. Now, I come from one of the most rural parts of Pennsylvania, and road spreading, even though now it's removed from this bill, is still a significant issue. Road spreading's been going on for decades. It actually, for anyone who understands it, it actually provides environmental protections. Has anyone ever traveled on a dirt and gravel state highway in Potter County in the middle of the summer? Do you see the dirt that's flying behind you? The dirt that's flying through the air? If you're spreading brine on it, it makes it as hard as a rock. And you don't have all that dirt flying through the air. It actually stabilizes the situation. There are numerous studies that have shown that there's no environmental problem with spreading brine. It's a great way to dispose of the brine and still provide environmental protections. Travel to an area like that, and if we're ever able to spread brine again, see it firsthand at the environmental protections that it can provide. Much has been said about water protections and the standards dealing with restoring water. Senate Bill 790 requires replacement that meets safe drinking water standards unless the water quality being replaced did not meet safe drinking water standards prior to the drilling that took place. That's the same standard that every other industry in Pennsylvania is held to, and the same standard that we've had in this Commonwealth for many, many years. And it's a reasonable and responsible thing to do. You know, spills, much has been said about spills. The amendment that I sponsored lowers that threshold so that you have to report spills. But you know what? There's still requirements in the law saying that any spill that threatens waters of the Commonwealth must be immediately reported. Well, I'd say that's pretty comprehensive. If it's going to threaten the waters of the Commonwealth, you have to report the spill, regardless of its size. Much has been said about abandoned wells in Pennsylvania. It is a problem across northwestern Pennsylvania. Representative Rapp and I can attest to that. This bill actually sets up a framework to attack the issue. We were thinking of that when we put the bill together. We have a problem with abandoned wells. So the framework is here so that we can more aggressively attack this problem. And yet for some, it's still not enough. I would say that this is the compromise bill. This is going to move us forward and provide reasonable, responsible regulation of an industry that's been in Pennsylvania more than 150 years. And I would ask for your support for the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.